Hello everybody, my name is Dunya Shaba. I'm a student at North Central University. Today I'm going to be discussing the enrollment status in higher education in US government systems today, as well as compare it with the Iraqi educational system. First, I'm going to start with giving a little bit of information about our educational system here in America. And to give a little bit of information, first of all, I'm going to be discussing financial aid programs that it's been offered here for higher education. Students that graduate here, graduate from bachelor's degrees and below, they receive financial aids according to their budgets and their income, their monthly or yearly income. The government have a lot of programs that assist them with fundings. However, once they reach the higher education programs, then there are a lot of loans that applies, and it's applicable for those students to achieve their education. Some of the programs that they're offered by the financial aid office is called grants. Pell Grants, for instance, is one of the programs that it's offered for students who have to be qualified for it and who are they have a low income status or for the first time achieving a bachelor's degree. This Pell Grant program, the Pell Grant program is they have to be qualified for, they have to achieve certain GPA status. As well, they're designated for, like I said, for students who cannot afford it. The tuitions, it pays for their tuitions, it pays for their books, it pays for pretty much all their program for them to achieve their bachelor's degree. Once they finish their bachelor's degree, then they have to move to a status of a loan status or scholarship status. Scholarships, of course, we have a variety of scholarships that they have to go according to their either minorities scholarships, single mother scholarship. There's a lot of variety of programs that are provided for the scholarships. And to include, of course, the loans. The loans is a lower rates. There's a subsidized and unsubsidized loans. These loans, of course, the subsidized it has lower interest rate, and unsubsidized loan they have a little bit higher interest rate. Once students graduate, they give them a grace period of 6 months for them to graduate and then find a job, and then move from there trying to get a job so they can pay a monthly payment according to their monthly budget. The problem we're facing today, and as the previous video that we watched in our university by Paul LeBlanc, he is the president of he's the president of Southern New Hampshire University. He discussed that there's a lot of challenges that students face while they're trying to enroll, and the enrollment status had dropped. And some of the challenges that he mentioned, one is the state fundings. State fundings that due to the budget decrease, the state have a hard time funding those students, so they're allowing them to enroll in higher education. Another challenge that he discussed was students are dropping off school just because they want to make a career and they want to make a living because they cannot afford to pay for those loans. Nevertheless, of all these programs that we're facing, there is a lot of opportunities for students here in the United States to achieve their higher education, even though like we stated, the enrollment status had dropped, but they can always come back at a certain time or a later time. It doesn't matter the age differences. Unlike in Iraq, I'm going to be discussing a case in Iraq. I'm going to be talking about Baghdad University. I'm going to take that as an example of a case study that I conducted on. According to UNESCO reports, they stated that prior to the Gulf War in 1991, Iraq had one of the best educational performance. Their enrollment rate was 100%, and their literacy level were very high. Let's go back in history a little bit. We'll talk about during the regime of Saddam Hussein. Back in the days, the education system was all free, from elementary school all the way to the PhD programs. Everything was provided free for students. However, students had to be enrolled in his party, the Ba'ath Party, in order for them to achieve a good educational system or good education. They can enter and be enrolled in a good educational programs. After the fall of or the invasion of 2003, what happened is a lot of the Ministry of Education got really corrupted. The Ministry of Education didn't take the handle of what's going to happen with the students' enrollment. So the students of enrollments got really dropped. For instance, as of today, in Baghdad University, well, besides Baghdad University, all the colleges and Baghdad University, to include Baghdad University, if you are trying to achieve bachelor's degree and below, it's free of charge for everybody. Free of charge because it's government funding. They provide the fundings for them and they allow them to finish their education free. However, they have to be at a certain age. Once they achieve their bachelor's degree, then they want to get and try to achieve their higher education. That's when the challenges starts. What happened is a government only offers 2 public seatings for a master's degree and above. Before I get into the details about what the government offer for their higher education, I would like to explain a little bit more about their career system as well, because they're both are linked together. If I have a person who is working at a government job and he has a bachelor's degree, and let's assume that he earns $1,000 a month. Once he gets his master's degree, then automatically government will issue him an increase in salary equivalent to 100% of his salary. So his salary will get increased to $2,000. This is for master's degree, and then for PhD, of course, they give a little bit more, and they give a lot more insurances. They give more, like a whole package for their degrees. So as you see, the competition to achieve higher degree in Iraq is very, very high. And the reason for that is because people want to earn more money. And like I stated, they earn more money is through their degrees and what type of degrees that they have. The students have to compete in a testing center. They have an exam that they have to take. It's not similar to LSAT. It has nothing to do with a TOEFL or IELTS or any kind of exams. It's a special exam that the government offers that they have to take in order for them to get a higher score to compete for 2 seatings and 2 slots only to receive free fundings. So what does that mean is 2 students out of hundreds of students that come into the testing center take the test at the same day. Over 100 students take the test at the same day. 2 of them only will get elected and to get a selection process to get into the free program of the 2 slots. And the government will fund them 100% at a master's degree and at a PhD degree. Then, besides the 2 seats that they have, the slots that they have, they also offer 6 more seats or 6 more slots in the classroom for privately funding. And what that means is the student have to pay out of his pocket to get into those to get into the slot. Of course, on top of the competition of the scoring high on the test, if he scored really high, students scored really high, they have to pay out of their pocket to get in. Now, the cost to get a master's degree in Iraq, it's as of today, it's 10,000 Iraqi dinar, which is equivalent to $8,000 in dollar currency, and this is a year. The cost to get a PhD program, to get a PhD degree is 12,000 Iraqi dinar, which is equivalent to about $10,000, and this is also a year. Now, again, the 6 seats and the 6 slots that they have to get in, they have to pay all this out of their pocket. What happened? This has caused a lot of problems and a lot of challenges because the enrollment rate dropped. To start a master's program, only 6 students will attend a class. So unlike here, you'll get to have 30 students and above, you'll get to have online classes. Of course, Iraq don't have online classes and they won't even honor that programs, the programs of online. Online classes that we take here, they're accredited, they're honored by all over Middle East, they're all honored by everybody in the whole world because it's accredited school. Iraq is the only country that don't honor on online classes. So online classes is out of the picture. The only thing that they have is they have to be in actual cultural classrooms, traditional classrooms where only 6 students will attend a master program. And this is unlike before. So to attend, there is a teacher that comes in or a professor that comes in and try to teach only 6 students. It's out of hand. A lot of students in Iraq got dropped out. The enrollment rates went really low. That's just because the government, this is what the government allows it because of the corruptions and because of the budget that they have. I'm sure that they have a lot more budget, but they just don't want to spend it on these students. So what happened, a lot of private owned colleges started initiating opening their programs and opening colleges and universities in Iraq. So as of today, there are 43 private colleges in Iraq. Some are not credited, some are not even honored by the Iraqi Minister of Education. So the challenge that we're facing, students attending privately owned college, they attend 4 years of a program to get their bachelor's, then they attend their master's program and their PhD program, and then in the end, when they want to go and honor by the Ministry of Education tell them, guess what? This college was not accredited, it's not being honored, they didn't take our approval to open their programs, therefore we're not going to honor it. So Iraqi students faced a lot of these problems in the past, and these problems caused them to seek alternative solutions such as going outside Iraq to get the degrees. So as of today, I did a lot of research, and I spoke to many students that I have, and one of the students that I spoke with, he's studying abroad in Egypt. He told me that in Egypt, as of today, there is about 24,000 Iraqi students that left Iraq to go to Egypt trying to get their degree completed. And many of these students also, not only that they leave to Egypt, but they also start seeking education in Ukraine, in Russia, in Malaysia. They went outside Iraq trying to achieve these degrees, and then what they do is once they finish their degrees, then they come back to Iraq, and of course Iraq will try to honor all the degrees that are outside Iraq, unless it's of course online classes, like I mentioned before. Only in Iraq and in Baghdad, as of today, there's only 20 universities in Baghdad that is not being honored. And this is through a research that I did. 20 universities in Baghdad are not being honored by the Ministry of Education. What that means, again, it's individual like me and you. We go in Iraq, we go in Baghdad, and I say, I have the funding, I have the money, let's start an investment, let's open a business, let's open a university. And I'm not going to go through the proper channel. I'm not going to go through the licensing. I'm not going to try to get it licensed and approved by the Ministry of Education. And of course, the people there don't know that it's been accredited, it's been approved, or it's not. So they start attending these colleges. They're 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. They get their degrees. They get out of the program. They try to go to Ministry of Education, try to get employee hired. They try to get into the government positions. They tell them, guess what? These programs were never approved, therefore you wasted your time, you wasted your money. So as I said, 20 colleges as of today in Baghdad are not accredited and not being honored. And as of today, they still, they're being operative. Also, there are other things, alternative solutions to the enrollment status in Iraq. Other countries took a step in helping the students in Iraq. So this is what they did. Iran, Lebanon offered Iraqi students to leave their country, not to leave their countries, offered them to start a program in Iraq, finish their, whatever their pre-qualifications, they finish their education, they finish what they have to finish from programs, they have, they select programs for them. And then what they do toward the end, they have to go and do the research or do the testings to Lebanon. They have to travel to Lebanon or Iran to get the degree. So what they do is that during the 4 years period, they have to be in Iraq studying whatever the Lebanese educational system offers them or whatever the Irani educational system offers them. And then they take the tests abroad. This is also costs money for students because they have to travel out of their expense. They have to study out of their expense. It's a lot of challenge that the Iraqi people face. And like I mentioned before, comparing both the U.S. educational system here, yes, you have the opportunity to get loans from school and finish your education. And if you decide to drop out, then you can drop out and then you can come back. Even if you're 90 years old, you can come back and finish your education. But in Iraq, it's different. Once you reach 45 years of age, you cannot get a master's degree. Once you reach 50 years of age, you cannot get a PhD program or PhD degree. So do you see the challenge that they're facing? And that's why there's a lot of challenges and a lot of issues that the students face in Middle East and Iraq, especially in Iraq. Students been suffering. They've been filing a lot of complaints. They went on riots. They tried to do a lot of things, try to have the Ministry of Education change their mind. However, this didn't